Continuing with this second portion on the second page, we're being asked to find if these two triangles are similar. If on the off chance you've taken geometry, this should look like a problem that's come up before, declaring if these triangles are similar, meaning that if we were to set up a proportion between these two triangles, and if they're equal, that's implying that they're similar. So they're saying that if we have a fraction like 8 over 10, because we're using this segment as the top, this is the bottom. If we wanted to switch these around, we totally could. Then if these are considered similar, this would have to be equal to 12 over what? Well, if we have the same kind of placement as 10, 10 was on the bottom portion of this triangle, y is on the other portion of this triangle. So if y is here, this should be a valid statement. So how do you think we can solve this? If we cross multiply. So this is similar to in the previous part where we had these proportions set up here. We have a variable we don't quite know yet, but we can solve for it accordingly if we cross multiply. So if we take 8 times y, this should be equal to the product of 10 and 12, so 120. And if we solve for y from here, dividing, y is going to be equal to 15. And they don't have any units here, so no units. For the next problem, they have this in a wordy segment, so I'm going to underline what numbers I think are important in blue. So it's saying that a tree casts a 26-foot shadow, a boy standing nearby casts a 12-foot shadow, forming similar triangles. So it's really the same kind of context that we have up here. His height's 4.5 feet, so he's a small guy. And then we're being asked to find how tall the tree is. So underlining what's important. The tree casts this shadow, boy casts this shadow. We can draw this out also. So the boy's height's this much, and we're being asked to find how tall the tree is. So if we sketch this out, let's say that we have a tree like this, and the shadow is producing this length here, 26 feet. And we're being asked to decide if this is similar to this boy's shadow. Probably not as tall, but we know he's 4.5 feet. And he casts a 12-foot shadow. What proportion do you think we'll have to set up with this? So if we are looking for this height here, we don't quite know this, but we can set up a proportion, something like 4.5, the height of the boy, over 12, his shadow, where this is equal to what we don't quite know, the height, over the shadow. If we cross multiply on this, we're taking the product of 4.5 and 26, and this equals 12 times the height of the tree. If we solve this, we have 4.5 multiplying with 26, dividing by 12, so approximately 9.75. But what units are going to make the most sense here? Hopefully you're saying feet. For the next portion, this has us deciding on if there's a percent of change for an increase or decrease, then finding that percent of change. If you've gone shopping, if you used Amazon and gone for the hot fire sales, you should notice that some of these are going to be a deduction in price or an increase in price. This happens a lot in retail. So if we have an original amount of $90 and this is multiplied with some percentage, let's call this just a question mark, it eventually gets us this new price of 84.5 Of course, using dollars. So how could we solve for this percentage here? Only takes one step with dividing. So if we take 84.5 dividing by 90, this had a price drop of a little bit. So the percent of change, although this is approximately 94% of the original price, to find the actual difference between the two, if we take 1 minus our answer, this is saying that this was an approximately 6% drop in price. So instead of saying that the price change is 94%, we want to say it's a price change of 6% and it's a decrease. So this is a 6% decrease. I'll give you a moment for the other three if you want to pause the video and check those three out. You should be saying that this is a 40% increase. I know that this new amount is a decrease for sure, because if it goes from $15 to $5.50, that's a decrease. You should be saying that this is a approximately 63% decrease. You should also be saying that this is a 50% increase.